Moving on to the third presentation of today, it's on how you future-proof your buildings with today's technology. And to present that, we have Samer. Samer has more than 20 years of experience in smart cities, having worked with international firms such as Microsoft, Cisco, Orange, and he joined Honeywell more than 2 years ago, leading the connected enterprise business in KSA. Samer quickly rose to create market awareness for AI and machine learning driven solutions and services, which would achieve overall excellence and energy optimization. He's currently the connected enterprise leader for Saudi Arabia and Bahrain at Honeywell. Over to you, Samer.
Thank you, Arvind. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Good afternoon. Let me share my screen. First of all, okay. All right. You see my screen, right?
Yes, I see your screen. Yes.
All right. So, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I wish we were having that presentation or this event at a face-to-face, but COVID-19 has not helped us do it, and we're all locked in our laptops and on Zoom. And that's the more of the essence of this entire discussion happening today. It's the digital transformation. COVID-19, let's face it, it's pushing us to adopt the digital transformation. It's no longer a nice to have. It's no longer a good to have. It's no longer part of our planning. It's to happening today. It's available in our business, and we have to embrace it whether we like it or not. It's our obsession. It's our way of life. So on that perspective, the topic today is that how you can future-proof your buildings. Now, before we go into that, we have technically, I mean, we have basically interviewed, or let's say we have researched a lot of companies in the market, and even Saudi Arabia more precisely. And we realized that the most important challenges facing those companies can be grouped into 4 different categories. First one is the silo technologies. Everybody claims that we'd like to have centralized operations and everything, but at the end of the day, IT and OT are still segregated. And when this happens, you have a problem in the asset performance. You don't have a visibility, and then every data is scattered around your system, around your property. Just imagine if you have a multiple assets, multiple portfolio across the country, it'll be even much more difficult, because then you have to have multiple individual operation team handling those facilities. And when you don't have asset visibility, it causes you to have more and more drain on your operation expenses. The second one is actually the complexity and the enterprise level. So when you don't have an aggregated level of data coming all the way to you to make a decision, then you start losing on the asset life cycle. You start suffering on the occupant experience, and that lead to multiple relationship with your vendors, and you don't know where to start and how to position those elements. And that will cause you more and more resources, let's say expenses, a lot of background work, so that you can be able to manage your portfolio. And that's the second very important problem. The third one, which is also funny, which is the manual control. We are in the 21st century. We speak about the nice digital activities, but in the ground, there's a lot of ideas which are happening manual. And one might say, but you know what, I'm doing fine. I'm getting my data. Why should I worry? It's because when you have a manual element to your operation, you are taking more time to resolve problem. You need more time to find the data. You need more time to understand what's happening, and this will affect your operation. Finally, and quoting what Dr. Maliha mentioned earlier in the morning, she says, employees humanize technology. I like that statement a lot, and and I like to use it here. The thing is that, when you have the right mindset of the employees using those technology, you're in good shape. But what happens is that in reality, people just dump on your employees. This is the new tool. You have to learn how it works. So that's not the right mindset that you need to put your employees in it, and this creates more pressure. And as you know, people resist any change happening on the ground. So these are, top, let's say, challenges facing on the organization as of today. So what we're saying is that from a general perspective, what KSA companies are facing, or let's say what they're expecting to have in the market, is the following points. Number one, they would hope to have some sort of remote or autonomous operation. I don't want to be available 24/7, looking over my operations. Can there be some sort of artificial intelligence? And Andrea in the morning spoke about that point. Also, Keith, can there be some sort of intelligence to help me analyze the operations? Can I be able to rapidly assess? I think Keith mentioned that also. Can I get the support of the artificial intelligence to help me tackle the right problem using the right resource at the right place. I don't want to send multiple people at different times and then suffer that, what happened on my second problem, my third problem. And then also on the industry expectations, how can I justify my investment for upper management? I need to buy this ERP system. I need to buy this centralized control. That's fine. But is this something which is, justifiable? There was a comment earlier on chat, which I responded to one of the questions. It's not always the ROI that matters. It's also how can I have employee satisfaction? How can I have customer satisfaction? All these counts. So obviously profitability is key, but at the same time, how can I improve my overall operation experience? And number 4 is operational get better. So can I learn from the mistakes? Can I learn from what happened in the past? Can the system learn by itself? What we call self-learning, self-healing. Can it use some sort of artificial intelligence to learn by itself? Can I try to save on the number of applications happening so that everybody will get any application anywhere they are? I don't have to train people on different platforms. You should have the same platform all over my operations. Earlier, one of the esteemed guest speakers spoke about the cybersecurity. How can I improve my cyber threats? I mean, listening to the gentleman earlier, my mind was blown because there's a lot of problems happening of that. There's a lot of attacks. And personally, I was feeling afraid that, just imagine how much attacks that could happen at any point of time. And finally, how can I converge in IT world and the operation technology world, which is known as the 4.0 industrial revolutions. What Honeywell is promising against those expectations is that we're looking about trying to optimize up to 90% on operations. We're looking about get you a yield optimization with around 20 to 30%. On the employee productivity, on the employee, let's say, time spent, 20 to 40% drop in their activities, a 25% reduction on a net carbon footprint, because that's something which is also obviously very important. I know that probably it has not yet caught up enough in this part of the world, but this is something which is now a global trend. That how can I reduce my footprint? How can I reduce my energy bill? The rise on energy bill is causing me obviously to ask my question mark. Can I save my energy on the current operation? Can I maintain my same operation but try to reduce my energy? And finally, how can I reduce the loss injury? Just imagine about all the projects which are having some sort of field engagement. How can I avoid or reduce as much as possible the loss injury? So before we go on, I'd like to ask Arvind, I'd like to run a small poll for the audience and ask you, please think about those industry expectations. Which one of those expectations you think are really that you're rooting for? So which one of those expectations or those challenges you think that your organization is trying to root for? We'll give you just a few seconds to comment. So whether you're in healthcare, in industry, whatever you want to call it, that it's over, right, Arvind? It's closed?
Yeah, yes. Okay. You want
Fair enough.
to continue that? Okay.
Yeah, maybe extend a bit more time.
Yes, please.
If I allow it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm like.
So we'll give you a few more seconds, please. All right. So the purpose again is that based on your industry, what are the challenges that you think are facing most in your industry, in your day-to-day operations? So we'll close in 6 seconds, 5 seconds. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Arvind. Okay. So let's look at the results. We have almost 30% of the, or let's say the majority are spread between remote and autonomous operations and ROI. That's amazing. And I'd like to take a quick pause here, which means that in your view that you're seeking some sort of be able to remote connect to my operation, like some kind of remote management, remote operation, which is great. At the same time, can I justify my investment to my top management? Why do I need this one? So it's the nice blend between having autonomous control, having remote operation at the same time, I'm doing the right investment for my future. So that's a very good direction. Thank you all for responding. So what we're proposing here is basically, can we remove the poll, Arvind? No. So what we're promoting here is the following. We're proposing a simple 5 steps in order to be able to normalize your operation. Number one, we place a small box in your facility, which is called the connect box. It basically, it normalizes the data, connect all your assets, connect all your people, and then bring all this data into a normalized platform. It uses artificial intelligence to learn what's happening in your building. Number two, visualize that data. Now that I'm able to see the data, I need to see it. I need to do some sort of benchmarking, analysis, KPI, trend analysis, graphs, pie chart, whatever. All these as sort of visualization, what's happening. That's fine, but now what's the next step? I need to optimize. How can I improve my operations? It's not just for the fun of seeing this information. Can I do some sort of activity? Coming back to Keith's presentation in the morning, imagine that AI is reading the data from from the customers and predicting the problem. Same thing happened here. Can I optimize the data by the system itself? Can the system optimize that without my intervention or without waiting for me to think about what should I do and to take actions? And number four, obviously, we should just transform. How can I transform my entire operation from being the manual, the remote, the isolated, the siloed into a digital transformed buildings? This will lead you a 20% cost saving, more than 40% improvement operations, and a lot more exciting numbers. So how do we do this at the end of the day? What we're proposing here is basically, so what we're proposing is something which is called what we call the Enterprise Performance Management Solution. It's a suite of application called Honeywell Forge. It gives you a centralized, or let's say a real-time board. That dashboard is available on a web page. So you know, you don't need the software, you don't need a license, you just need anything, just a web page, you log in, and then you start viewing all the data, all the assets. But that's not enough. It's not just about the visualization, as we said. More importantly, it's about trying to optimize and use artificial intelligence in order to try to predict problem and then try to address problem. The beauty about this solution is the following. You don't need to log in to activate the solution. You don't need to open the dashboard so that the AI works. AI is working all the time. AI is optimizing system all the time. If you wish to know what's happening in my portfolio, you can just walk in. You could be in Riyadh, you could be anywhere in the world, you could be in Dubai, in Brazil, and you just open that dashboard, you just log in using credential, and you see how your system are self-learning, self-healing, self-improving, and you just try to monitor the latest information. And if there's any critical problem, you just pinpoint the problem and then you try to trace it itself. So there's a lot of application here. We can obviously take it later on, but you know, this is what we say as enterprise performance management. What we're doing is that, let me try to simplify it. We do it from 5 different components. Number one, we provide you a global operations. How is my entire portfolio doing? How is my entire system happening across the portfolio, across my company, across, let's say, the entire territory? Number two, site operation. How can I enhance my maintenance of the asset? How can I enhance my predictability of the problem? Why should I wait for a problem to occur and then take action to solve it and then intervene? This is already a lost case. Just imagine that if your building does a hiccup, if your building gives you an issue that it's down, you've already lost. You don't need to wait until the problem is down and then you take action. You should be able to the system fix the problem before it happens. Number 3 is the asset performance. Obviously, how can I improve my assets? Energy sustainability. How can I? This is obviously the important topic as we said here. How can I improve my energy? How can I reduce my energy bill? And finally, we're all here to serve our client. So our guests, how can I improve my guest experience at the most efficient manner? We've been working on the solution, so we've tried it with multiple personas. We've realized that there's a level of benefit for different personas. From the CEO perspective, a CEO, he or she will be able to have a dashboard where you can see the KPIs, the SLAs, the benchmark comparison. What's my building or have been doing over the past 6 months? From an FM perspective, you'll be able to monitor, for example, what's happening in my portfolio. Same thing for the IT. They can claim that they have a digital transformation platform. On the PR perspective or marketing, it's a green building, so it's energy optimization, it's saving energy. And finally, on the portfolio management, it's using the ASHRAE standard, which is international standards. Our solution have been tested with global.
Sorry to tell, we are running out of time, Samer.
And just 1 minute. Yeah. Yes. So we've tried our solution. These are some global benchmarks about what will happen on the savings, some savings in cases such as Moassat and energy around the world. I'll end up with this small video about solution. It's just 2-minute wrap up. That's it for now. And so I ran out a bit longer, Arvind. Thank you for the opportunity. Back to you, Arvind.
Thank you, Samar. Thank you. I'd like to thank the presenters of this session. Unfortunately, we've ran out of time. Every presenter has taken enough time, so we are unable to continue with the Q&A session, but we want to move with the next panel discussion. In fact, we have two more panel discussions quickly to wrap up about the